February 10th, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. What the chart looked like today. It was kind of another repeat day of on me. I had a poor, bad decision. I guess a lapse in judgment. Essentially, I got the first trade wrong again, and then kind of like yesterday, I got the second trade good, but at least I was smart enough today to just leave things alone and not take a poor third trade like I did yesterday. I mean, yesterday it worked out, but I just barely. Today it was a bad first trade, and in hindsight, and even during the trade, it was I just started regretting that I even took the trade because I should have just been more patient. And the second trade is a little bit better. I'm gonna go into the charts. There's only one piece of economic data that came out, was 5:30, which is about right here, which is the core retail sales. And it really, I mean, it was already kind of on this up channel push, so it's hard to really say that it caused. Well, actually, I take it back. It was just a lot of choppiness right here. There weren't too many setups, and there was a few more almost setups. We can get into the charts right now. So pre-market is sold off, break, tested low, reverses, break of this orange, makes a second leg up, kind of just chopped sideways. It starts pushing up, and right at the open, it kind of keeps moving up on this green up channel. Then it starts moving sideways. There's a new high. It's a first entry long, and that's all you get. Pushes down. It actually sets up the first trade that I thought might have been an actual possible trade. So I was playing with different channels at the time. I initially had one kind of at the very high swing, kind of here and here, but it didn't fit right because it had such a large excursion. And at one time I did have this transparent looking one, and then later this yellow one coming down. Now, I'll be honest, this yellow one didn't really get established until after the trade and the setup already happened. So I can't honestly say that I saw it, but I wanted to wait to see what happens because I didn't have enough reasons to take this second entry short, because this yellow down channel doesn't exist until I think a couple of these candles printed. Then I drew the yellow down channel, cutting, starting the swing a little bit lower. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this just to make it more clear. Instead of at the swing high, I kind of cut it through here just to see if it would touch better. So although it's a setup, I don't know that I'm skillful enough to have recognized it in time, but it is a possible trade. It's a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, rejection off this yellow down channel if you had it established early on, which I did not, and rejection off the EMA, decent signal bar. So it's a possible trade, but I didn't recognize it in time. It's more of a hindsight recognition. Pushes down, bounces off the low of this yellow down channel. You have a first entry short pullback. You technically have a second entry short here, but it's an inside bar, so I had to leave that alone. Looking for a lower high, which never shows up. It moves sideways, then it starts reversing up on this orange up channel. As it pushes out, I'm thinking, our price is going to stay within the pre-market high and pre-market lows? So it's the first excursion out, it pushes out, sells off, and it kind of moves sideways. Technically, you have a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long here, but I don't trust this range enough yet because in real time, you don't have enough confirmation to know that it's truly a range or if it's going to test the low. So definitely, even though it's a potential second entry long, there's no trade there. Pushes to the high, hits another sideways consolidation, pushes down on this orange down channel. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. This actually sets up my first trade, which is a poor trade. Now in real time, I had convinced myself, okay, this orange down channel kind of moved a little bit. This orange down channel clearly has to test the low. So it's a first attempt down, this is a second attempt down. So this second attempt down, in real time, I'm thinking, okay, this is the approach. It's going to start moving down. This is really good signal bar, creating for the second entry short, but it is an inside bar to this one. The follow through confirms the second entry short. So it's the first entry short, second entry short. I got it in my head that, well, clearly prices are going to move back down. Break of this orange is going to come back down, test the low. So I made 2 attempts up, and potentially a second leg is going to come down, but it didn't. So I entered one tick, well, at the same low as this original signal bar, because after the close, I said, I think it's going to come back down. Entered, and it immediately comes back up, stops me out one tick above this guy, which is my stop. So immediately red loss. As it was forming though, when I dropped my entry here, in the time before it stopped me out, I thought, actually, this isn't a very good idea because These two bars are inside to this guy. This is already kind of wedging, so it's wedging, so it's not giving you clear, decisive indication of which way things are going. It could either break out or break down, which is obvious. But how confident do I have in the idea that it's going to break down? There's no EMA rejection, so there's no other key entry points. So this is a poor setup to take a trade. Nevertheless, I took it, got a red, very similar to yesterday, where I kind of thought something was going to happen, but it didn't have enough going for it. Today, it didn't have enough going for it that I definitely should have just skipped the trade. The prices move up. It starts moving up. It creates kind of a triple test here in a failed breakout. Creates a second entry short, which I thought was a possible trade. So you see this in real time. You see a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, potential top of the range, decent signal bar, and coming from a failed breakout. So I thought there was a possible trade here. Enough room to the EMA for a quick scalp, but just seeing, just recently taking a loss here, I didn't really want to. I needed a lower high confirmation, which doesn't show up. Pushes down, kind of just oscillates, pushes back up, flushes down. Technically, you have a new low. You have a first entry short pullback. You have a second entry short. It's a green signal bar. I'm just trying to be extra strict now, so I didn't want to take it. Didn't mean to do that. This one kind of tweaked a little bit. There's a lower high here, which doesn't really help because it's the wrong signal color. Pushes to the low. It gives you another possible trade. So here, I'm thinking we're in a range. It looked like it was two legs up, and then we're just chopping sideways in this big range. You have a new low here, bouncing off support. First entry short pullback. You have a potential second entry short. EMA is starting to act as resistance, although it is kind of sideways. I thought there was a possible trade here. A little aggressive though. In this case, it would have worked out for a 1-point scalp and even 2 points as it pushes down. You would have had a lower high here, but it doesn't really confirm much. Well, it does confirm the second entry short, but it's a wrong signal bar color, and you're getting ever closer to the lows here, which could act as a bounce point because there was a break, small break here. I thought it might have been the first attempt up. Pullback could have been a second attempt up, so this was certainly more aggressive. Pushes down. It starts moving down this yellow down channel because I had a few lines drawn, and originally this orange one. Then I had one touch, and I actually had it come down and touch here. Let me try to recreate the previous channel at something like this, because these wicks, you could argue, I mean, the low side, you could kind of make anything work until more price action forms. You could have been easily playing this, let's just say orange or darker red channel, and it could have been a fail breakout here. But as a secondary, I also had this yellow down channel. It was transparent at the time, but I said one touch, two touch, potential third touch. It fits pretty nicely. It contains everything. I have one touch, two touch, a third touch. So I favored this yellow down channel a lot more than the previous one that I've since deleted. So it looks like it's staying contained in this clean, slightly wider down channel. So push up creates a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback. Technically, I have a second entry long here, but since this is inside of this, I actually just saw it as a visual first entry. But I also saw this as a new low, first entry short, break outside this yellow up channel, pushes up, and gives you a second entry short. The reason I like this trade is it's a fourth touch confirmation, one touch, two touch, three touch, four touch. Low sides fitting pretty nicely. One touch, two touch, three touch, four touch. So I'm pretty confident we're pushing down and staying contained in this yellow down channel. This is a decent signal bar when I saw it, and it still is. And it's right at the EMA, but it closes below. The only thing that could have been even better is if it closed at the low. It did pull back a little bit, but I thought that was a risk worth taking. So as soon as it broke below the low of this guy, I entered. So I did enter before this closed. It pushes back up, and I thought, well, my basis for taking this trade has to hold. I have to trust that this key entry point, this resistance, is going to be strong enough to keep prices down before it pushes up and stops me out right here. Then it gives me a lower high, and I actually thought this lower high is also a possible trade because it confirms a second entry short, or you could have seen it as a first entry short, and this could have been your second entry short signal bar. depending on how you looked at it. So it's also a possible trade here. Pushes down. I was able to quickly get a scalp. Excuse me. The prices continue chopping sideways. It moves down this yellow down channel. It starts moving sideways. I'm going to go ahead and color this in as a potential range. Fail breakout here, pushes back down, it pushes out, hits this high side, and I thought this could have been a possible larger range that we're trading in. Pushes down to the low side. There's a fail breakout here, failed to create a symmetrical breakout here. So I'm wondering if this is going to hold, but it has to hold. But clearly prices are kind of selling off now. So I'm a little suspicious of any kind of long setup here. So it does give you a first entry long. I'm wondering if it's going to give me a second entry long with a potential fail breakout and reversal. It does reverse, but I wasn't ready for a trade because this is a bad signal bar. The follow through is decent, but I didn't like how it pulled back. So I'm mainly looking for a higher low in the next couple bars with enough room before I hit this potential resistance. I don't get that higher low. It pushes back up to the high side. Thought it might be moving up this orange up channel, test and break of the high. Starts coming back down. You have a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it's not very good. It's a wrong signal bar color. Then you actually have a technical first entry long, visual second entry long, but it's kind of bouncing off the middle of nowhere. So it's not a really clean key entry point. So I'm again, in order for me to take a long, I'm looking for a higher low. The higher low doesn't really show up. Starts reversing, pushes back. Now I'm thinking, okay, is this support going to hold? I thought it was originally moving down this orange down channel, breaks. It's really choppy, pushes out, back down. At this point, I established potentially things might be moving down this yellow down channel, and it was transparent at the time, like this. Pushes down. It looks like it's being contained, but I don't really trust it too much yet because it only has one touch, two touch. Technically a third touch, but it's a breakout, and it might be coming back to test the low. And that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. It's a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short break of this green up channel has tested the high, decent signal bar. Thought this was a possible trade because it wants to come back down and test the low of this yellow down channel. EMA is starting to hold as resistance. You'd have to sit through a little bit of heat, but then one of these two candles would have given you the prop target. Prices then continue moving. This blue range doesn't exist yet, so you can just ignore it for now. I'll just leave it. I'll just transparent it for now. Pushes, new low. Count resets. Say first entry short pullback, second entry shorts, bad signal bar. I don't really trust this setup when I see it to go short. I did have a potential resistance here. So I was playing with the idea that this range, let me go ahead and color it in for now, back in, was actually, go ahead and pull this, was actually a little bit lower and tighter here because there's no reason to draw it high up there yet. Potential fail breakout. Localized high, first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long, it's bad signal bar. You can see it as a visual first entry, second entry, also a terrible signal bar. Nothing here. You get a higher low here, but the higher low is bouncing off the EMA, which isn't super reliable right now because it's going horizontal. And the problem is you're buying into what I thought is a potential resistance area because I was thinking this might be a range. It's also new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short potential fail breakout. It did make a measured move that I saw, but I just didn't like the signal bar. And I wasn't sure if it was really going to move back into this range. So I was looking for a lower high inside this range to push back down to the low. You get, well, you don't get it yet. Now you get a lower high. By the time, because you don't know there's going to be a lower high because the finish on these two candles are too neutral. I didn't like that. By the time this candle shows up and pushes down, I felt the trade was already made. So although there's a lower high after the fact, there's no way for at least my read to know or get a good hunch to try to get a trade set up for here because it just didn't have enough things going for it. Then it kind of pushes back. You get a higher low because you can also see it as localized high. First entry long pullback, second entry long. Although it's a double bottom, it does close and it could be considered a higher low. And I was thinking maybe there's a support here, but my feeling was more likely there wants to be another push down to this low side because a fail breakout here, fail breakout here. It's creating lower highs each time. So you suddenly get a higher low. I'm not that convinced that it's necessarily going to start reversing yet. Because it's since been deleted, but I was playing with the idea that there could be a channel forming here, but it's a very shallow channel. I'm not a big fan of that. Pushes up, so it's almost trade. Go ahead, delete this. It just gets really choppy here, just pretty much side-by-side piano keys. Pushes back down, gives you a second entry long here is localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long inside bar. When I see this, I'm thinking there could be a bounce. There is a bounce, but it's inside of this. So I am very cautious because this could have been failed breakout, but this is where I ended up thinking, could this actually be up here? And this older blue line here was the previous top of the range, and maybe the range is actually here. So it starts reversing, pushes back down. Now you technically have multiple tests off this support, but you have no setup. First entry long, then it pushes down. I'm reluctant to take a second entry long here. It does look like 2 legs down. Could be a failed breakout. Inside to this guy, I need to see a higher low to feel confident taking a long. But also the time of day is too late. It's in the last 30 minutes. Although I'm ending the day red, I was pretty grateful for the second trade because the first trade was kind of iffy. That I didn't want to try to force things like yesterday where I took a pretty shoddy third trade and was just like lucky. Because just like yesterday, the second trade was much better than the first. So considering the time of day, I decided, well, I took a red day yesterday. I might as well just be happy, take a red day today, and then just build back the losses over the next few days or just going forward, not try to get it back today on such little time left and on a setup that's just kind of mediocre in my opinion. Because you do have first entry long, potential second entry long, bad signal bar, looking for a higher low. You don't get the higher low, and it starts moving sideways. Now I'm just really waiting. Pushes up, and then flushes down and pushes into the close. So kind of another slow day. I would say seems to be the case lately that yesterday and today, my first trades were on kind of poor setups. I got impatient. And then the second trade is a little more thought out. So I need to be more careful. I'm considering maybe tomorrow just being extra cautious, extra picky on that first trade, and maybe even just sizing down for that first trade, especially if I get caught up sitting and staring and thinking I need to take a trade. At least the damage will be a lot less because I'm currently after these 2 days in the red because I the wins haven't been enough to erase the losses. So hopefully things pick up. I kind of square myself up and just move from there. Hopefully that was helpful.